Washington, D.C. Because the movement and the powerful, mighty movement of 2006 that shook this nation to its foundation, when millions and millions of immigrants and supporters came out of the shadows, said we will not be silent and we will not live in fear or be invisible anymore, and who made sure that the nation had to hear our demands, where millions of people and tens of thousands of high school and middle school youth led the way, walked out of their high schools, jumped fences, jumped out of classroom windows, defied the whatever cautions and best intentions of parents or principals or priests, and the students and youth made the decision to lead for those same parents, for those same principals and priests, but most importantly, for themselves and for their own aspirations, to fight for their dignity and for their equality and their right to full citizenship and respect and an end to the racism and the sexism and the second-class treatment that too many Latina, Latino, Black, immigrant communities and people, especially young people, face every day. And it was when those young people took the lead that that movement took on a whole new dimension. And we were able to defeat the last attempt at a comprehensive immigration bill that would have made millions of undocumented immigrants felons, and their family members and friends who helped them and supported them, also people who would have been in danger of being put in jail. We defeated that because of the movement, and it's because of that movement and the youth that we now have a new immigration bill legislation that is being discussed, that they say will be on the table to be debated out in Congress as of the next couple of weeks, and which is only on the table now because of the strength of 2006 and the courage and the militancy of the young people and the immigrant Latino communities in particular in this nation. We have a chance to make history, to directly change the lives, literally, of over 11 million people in this nation, and the millions and millions more of us who will be directly impacted by that change as we see this nation start to move forward, potentially, toward living up to its promise of the American dream and freedom and equality. But BAN does not endorse the current legislation that is being hammered out now by both the Democrats and the Republicans. We do not support this bill that is being held by President Obama because it does not offer a full pathway to citizenship for the 11 million or more undocumented immigrants. The devil is in the details, and right now what they are discussing, on one hand, it makes promises that could be and should be some form of progress, like the Federal Dream Act for undocumented immigrants, like the possibility for some kind of pathway to citizenship and driver's licenses for immigrant workers and immigrant youth. That's because of the strength of the movement. But at the same time, this bill doesn't go far enough. They make it too hard. We're talking about fines and high costs and a cumbersome process to make it difficult for people who are already here and who are just as American as anybody else. This bill also calls for putting drones and increased border security on the border. That's going to lead to more attacks on immigrants who have a right to come here and their family members who have a right to come back and forth across the border. If NAFTA allows the corporations and those businesses to go back and forth with free reign, that same right should be afforded to the people who do the work, who are doing that work and who are putting that work into making those goods and products, the people who actually make the society and the things we need. That same right should be afforded to the people. That's what BAN is fighting for. And that's why we're mobilizing to Washington, D.C. taking leadership of this movement. We're going to be marching in Washington, D.C. on April 10th, because our contingent is standing for full citizenship rights for all the people here in this nation, with or without neighbors. We're fighting for the Federal Dream Act and for open borders. People, and it's time for us to be united against the myths and the lies of borders that were artificially created simply to benefit some people in power so that they can exploit some of us more and treat some people, and an excuse to treat some people as second-class human beings rather than others. We have to learn the lesson. We have to learn the lesson of 2006. We must be our own heroes, and we must develop and build our own independent leadership. And that's who BAM is. That is our intention with today's rally and march, and that is absolutely our intention when we march on Washington, D.C. We invite everyone here to join us to get to Washington and to join our contingent. It is not too late. We are still raising money, and we are still buying tickets. We filled the JetBlue airplane already. We sold that out. We've sold out the Southwest flight. We're about to sell out the United flight, and now we're looking into U.S. Airways. So, why stop there? Let's just take them all over. Because this is our time. There is no limit to what we can do if we make the decision to unite together and to lead on the basis that we really can. The only reason the politicians are offering these concessions, as inadequate as they are, is because we are strong. And they know we can be stronger than them. We intend to make history and to change the history, because it's not just the rich people who have official power positions who have that power. And we take our example and model from the abolitionist movement and Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. That was a movement that liberated millions of people who were enslaved in bondage and forced this nation to have to go to war if it had to in order to realize equality and end slavery. But we got to build that kind of movement again. And this is our abolitionist movement. Is an abolition movement that intends to fight by any means necessary to liberate the millions of people who have a right to not be afraid to get a job or to drive to work, who have a right to not be afraid to bring their child across the border, rather than be separated from them and to have to make those cruel and brutal choices between one child versus the rest of their family. That is not democracy. But it's changing that, and it's fighting to make that absolutely different, that we are committed to building this movement to realize and to transform. Join BAM, join our coalition. This is the time to make sure that we not just stop when the legislation and the vote is over. Because whatever comes out of this round of legislation, I promise you, we will be stronger out of fighting for it, whatever happens, and we will be stronger if we continue to fight. But that means we need new leaders. We need people who are not afraid to stand independent and to speak for and on behalf of the righteous anger and the undying hope of our communities. And together we can do that. So join BAM. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out today.
We're here. We're not going anywhere except for forward to a brighter future. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Así estamos y no nos vamos. Y si nos nation